Hi, this is Dave. Here's a question. Do our beliefs stunt our businesses? Here's a quote I'd like for you to consider. Quote, "For my whole life, I was led to believe that we were the richest country on earth. Now I see that we are the poorest. It's like my whole life has been wasted." Now that comment came from John, then an 80-year-old father of one of our Albanian foster children, who was visiting the USA and our home for the very first time in his life. He had lived his whole life under the communist government of Albania, one of the most oppressive governments in the world, and was now venturing out of the country for the first time. We couldn't help but feel for him. He had been led to believe a lie, and that belief shaped his actions and his attitudes and organized his life. Now, at an age when there was little to be done about it, he regretted his life lived in accordance with a belief that turned out to be false. While not nearly as poignant and heartbreaking as John's experience, we all allow the same thing, which is false beliefs, to impact our thinking and therefore our businesses and our lives. For the past 30 years, I have served as a sales consultant and a trainer and an author and speaker, and I've worked with at least 600 businesses and served thousands of others in seminars and speaking engagements. In all of this experience in the trenches, I've made some observations about what it takes to build a successful, thriving business and what hinders the growth of those businesses who have the potential for great things, but who languish in mediocrity. The world is full of businesses who have the potential to become more, to make more money, to influence more people, to do more good, to impact more lives, but they never do. They remain stunted in their growth. And the cause is not a lack of good people, nor is it a lack of effective systems, and many times it's not a problem of sufficient capital. All of these are symptoms of a deeper problem. The cause is the set of false beliefs held by the folks at the top. They believe something about their business that hinders their thinking, shapes their attitudes, impacts their emotions, and ultimately leads to actions that stunt the growth of the business. So here's one of those false beliefs. There are a number of commonly held beliefs that stunt the growth of the business. Today I'm going to look at this one. Quote, "Business is just about making money." Business is just about making money. That is a false belief. The most powerful false ideas have a bit of truth within them. And this one does too. It's not that business is not about making money. It certainly is about making money, but it is not just about making money. In my research for The Good Book on Business, which is one of my most recent books, The Good Book on Business, I uncovered a number of powerful functions of a business. Now, here's a small example of some of the elements of a successful business. And I have a term for it that I pulled out of the Bible. I call it a biblical business. So a sample of some of the elements of a successful biblical business. Among other things, a successful biblical business develops people and helps individuals grow. Now that's in addition to making money. Develops people and helps individuals grow. Number two, provides economic security to all of its stakeholders and employees. Number three, provides a sense of community and security for its employees. Number four, it blesses the communities in which it operates. And number five, it raises up a new generation of leaders. When a business, led by its owners and executives, focuses just on making money, they naturally neglect the other components of a successful business. Why would you spend money on training and developing your people, for example, when you see the money that it takes to do that as a cost, not an investment? Why would you organize a community outreach when you can't put a dollar figure on the return on investment for that effort? Why would you invest in raising up a new generation of leaders when you're concerned with the quarterly profit and loss statement? You see, the simple act of focusing on one thing leads us to neglect other things. Those businesses who just focus on making money neglect other things which are just as important. Now, this is particularly poignant when the thing that we focus on is fueled by a false belief. Sooner or later, it catches up with us. Here's what happens. For a while, the business grows and revenues increase. Life is good, company makes money. But then, things get difficult. And what typically happens is some combination of this menu of success stunters. The key employees leave, and this stunts the growth of the business and causes the head of the business to invest more time in finding replacements. Or key customers leave, and of course that's another growth stopper. Or there is turmoil in the ranks. Employees begin taking shortcuts. Errors increase, absenteeism grows. Or a key employee leaves to create a competitive business, taking people or customers with him or her. Or competition increases. New players come into the market, depressing market share and margins. From the perspective of the business owner who is hindered by the false belief, these are all unrelated events that occurred due to misfortune. However, from my perspective, these are not unrelated, but rather the inevitable consequence of a false belief expressed in the actions and attitudes of the owners and executives. Money-driven businesses eventually implode over time. Now, I know, we all know there's an exception, the exceptional few, but those are the exceptions. Generally, they inevitably plateau and often shrink. And their growth is stunted, and they never achieve the height to which they could have. The root cause is not fate or misfortune. The root cause is the false beliefs of the principals. So what do you do? Well, if you find yourself influenced by this false belief, the false belief that, quote, business is just about making money, if you find yourself influenced by that, then you must change it. One of the greatest principles of self-improvement is this: your thoughts dictate your actions and your attitudes, and you can change your thoughts. So you may have that belief, but you can change it. The Apostle Paul, writing to the Christians in Rome, said this. I'm going to read here Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. So to change your thinking, change the input. You know, poor John, my Albanian friend, lived a life where all the input he received was deceitful propaganda by a manipulative, malevolent government. He really never had a chance to see things differently. Don't let that happen to you. Surround yourself with business people who have a broader view of business. Interact with folks who think differently. Expose yourself to writers and thinkers who hold a wider view. The Good Book on Business is a great starting point. Follow people on social media who espouse a more holistic view of business. Read the blogs, review the articles, listen to the podcasts. Expose yourself to intelligent, thoughtful people who have opinions that may or may not be the same as yours. You know, our XI community, XI stands for Excellence and Influence. Our XI community is a great place to do that. For $5 a month, you can have exposure to like-minded people intelligent, educated people who want to grow their businesses and grow themselves and make a spiritual impact in this world. That's the XI community. I'll put a link in the show notes. And as you expose yourself to a different set of influencers, you'll find that you begin to think differently. And when you think differently, those thoughts will influence your attitudes and your actions. You'll begin to see your business differently, and you'll gradually unleash it from the ideas that hinder it and stunt its growth. You'll avoid the end-of-life lament that John shared. You won't say, as he did, quote, "My whole life has been wasted." Don't let that happen to you. Okay? That's it. We're done. Bye-bye.